Hi, this is Brad Gillis for Star Licks, and today I'll be showing you some of my licks and tricks on the guitar. And first of all, let's get to my equipment. This guitar is a 62 Fender Stratocaster that's been pretty much modified to the hilt as far as what I can do to it. To start out with, I got this guitar about 8 years ago. It was a gift to me from a friend of my brother's who gave it to me sanded down in a box in pieces. And I decided to take the whole thing and just do a number on it. And a lot of people think this is a graphite neck, but it's the actual 62 Fender neck, which I had custom painted black and the original decal put back on. And I had the tuning pegs, or gotch, I think they're pronounced gotch or gotch, tuning pegs that are black chromed. And I had an extra fret added on to it up top. And I use medium jumbo frets on this, which I like. Milled down a hair, and it seems to work for me. The body itself was sanded down, so we ended up painting it with some leftover lacquer I had from my Datsun 240Z, which is red, like an orangish red lacquer that I ended up putting 7 coats of lacquer on, and then over on the top of that 2 coats of Emerald clear, which gives it a pretty hard shell finish. As you can see how it withstands road conditions. The pickup I use is a PJ Marks here in the treble position, humbucking type. And the reason I really like these pickups is it was hard for me to find a pickup that wouldn't squeal when I had the boogie lead channel on, because you have a lot of gain on that lead channel, and a lot of times a lot of other pickups I use would squeal back when I would have to leave that channel on to either start a song or for a break during the song, so I wouldn't have to be next to my pedal board to turn it off. And these seems to work. This pickup seems to work really well for that application. And in the middle position here is the original 62 Fender pickup that came originally with the guitar, which has still been in there, and it seems to work well, so I left it in there. And in the neck position here is a stack pot Seymour Duncan that gives me a nice warm tone for that position and for the songs I use it on. I use the original old Floyd Rose that Floyd used to make in his garage many years ago when he first started out. And in fact, I actually mailed away to his house to get it, and talked to him over the phone when he was first starting out. And when I got it, I ended up getting it black chromed, and the chrome has worn off pretty much since then. But it works really well for me, and I've used other Floyd Roses before, and this one seems to hold up the best. And so that's what I use on this guitar, along with the nut, which is the original nut that was black chromed, and that's wearing off too. I put these custom knobs on, and had these, and the regular 5-position switch, which wasn't original on the guitar, but I had put in. With the regular, first position for this one, for this pickup, and in the middle, out of phase for these two, and in the middle, straight for this one. One more out of phase for these two, and all the way over for this one only. The wireless transmitter that is built in the guitar was done by Mark Newman and I, who is my guitar tech, who helped me build all my equipment. And what we did was we took apart the 700 system and pretty much dismantled it out of the case and built it under this area right here. We had to do a little bit of routing to get that in there. And wired the on and off switch to this type switch, which is a locking switch unless you lift it up to pull it over, and then that keeps you from accidentally turning it on and off. And we built that in for the switching on and off. And the LED light here to let me know when it was on or off or when the battery was going dead. You can tell by the dimness of the light. Right here, we used to have another transmitter that my brother designed. It's a wireless switching transmitter, which we were able to, when it was mounted in the guitar, we were able to, these switches were used to switch my different effects off and on. This would be used for like echo. This one would be like the AB channel for the boogie. And the third one for either flange or chorus or whatever you wanted to use it for. We ended up taking the transmitter out of this section and mounting it in this box right here, which Mark keeps with him now. And if I'm away from my my footboard here, if I'm too far away on stage and I can't get back to it, Mark would switch this, like the lead channel off or on, or what had to be done if I wasn't near it, because he knew all the cues. The antenna that I use on this guitar is mounted in the back, routed through this area right here, and laid in there and puttied over. Notice we didn't take the time to repaint it, because the back of a guitar usually gets scratched up quite a lot anyway. And this compartment right here is for the battery for the wireless system, and we have 2 batteries in here. One is a spare, just in case one goes down. And the regular mounting for where my input used to be is rerouted down here. And the strings I use are GHS boomers, and I use the 9 gauge through 42, which I've been using for quite a few years, and seem to work really well because I could bend the bar as far down or as far up as I want, and out of probably 50 shows, I would break maybe 1 string, and that's pretty good performance out of a guitar string. And the guitar pick I use this is a Dunlop light gauge pick. They have 3 different gauges. I go for the light one, which really isn't light. It's more of a medium, or a little heavier than a medium, 3-sided stainless steel. And they have a lot of flexibility, and they give me a little more brightness pulling it out of the strings. And they never break, and they seem to work really well for me. The amplifiers that I use are Mesa Boogie amps, and I've been using them for quite a while now. Quite a few years, in fact, and I've kind of grown with the company. I use the Simulclass models, and these seem to be the most reliable, and they got the best sound, which is the sound I use on record all the time and live. The speaker systems I use on stage are usually split 2 different cabinets. I only run 2 cabinets on stage. One is usually maybe a 212 cabinet, and the other a 412, or else 2 212s or 2 412s, depending on the shows I'm doing. The boogie cabinets seem to work well with the amplifiers, so that's what I use. For live situations, I usually use the bigger cabinets, the 412 cabinets, but for today, playing in a small room like I am and playing at a low volume like I am, I prefer to use the 112 boogie cabinets, which are also great for small club applications. Running maybe 2 of them split through a chorus at a club or a small gig is a great sound to get, and I recommend it highly. I'm using a rack full of about 9 different effects right now. I'm only using about 4 or 5 on stage, and the rest are backups. I use one Lexicon PCM41, which I use for the delay, which is a short delay. And I have a Roland SDE 2000, which I use for different delay settings. One is a short delay, which I use on just a regular slap for like lead solos, and the other one is a long delay, which I would use, a long heavy delay, which I would use on like Rumors in the Air for the intro. And I use a ADA stereo tap delay for a chorus flange setting, and I have a Lexicon PCM60 for the reverb, which gives me a live concert sound on stage, which I can hear that really doesn't come over maybe too much in the crowd, but gives me more live on stage sound. And then for noise reduction, I have a Rocktron Hush 2C, which is great on stage because sometimes you get unwanted noise and hiss from maybe interference of radio stations nearby, or else lighting systems that don't coincide with the amplification on stage. So that works really well to cut down the noise on stage. Now the foot pedal setup that I use that controls all my effects and my A/B switching for the Boogie amplifier is just was a custom-made 5-switch box that was made by Mark Newman's brother, Kent Newman, who helps out in a lot of effects and designing for the band. Running that through a snake that goes back to the effects, and with 1/4-inch plugs that plug into the outputs of all the effect switchings. Before we get started, let's tune up. First, the low E, A, D, G, B, and E. First, let's start off with a solo off the first album, Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Now, I'm going to split this in half, and first we'll start out with the first half. That is the first half of Don't Tell Me You Love Me solo, and I'm breaking it down in halves for you. Let's run through that slow. I want you to note that this note I hit that is a real high harmonic picking that I bend down on the bar must be picked at the very end of your metal plectrum, as they call them, and to get that high harmonic sound on that one note. I'll show you that slowly when I do this. And now lick number 2, which is the second half of the solo in Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Now what I'm doing on the second half of the solo here, lick number 2, is climbing up chromatically on about the middle of that section. And what I'm doing is I'm actually hitting 3 notes but plucking it 4 times on the way up. It's like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but I'm actually hitting only 3 notes. So you kind of have a lost picking note in there somewhere that really doesn't come out at that speed, but the feel of the 4-time is there, the fast 4-time is there. And on the very last note harmonic, you would be hitting the G string up right above the 3rd fret. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the bar down, hitting the note, and then pulling it up, and then wiggling it with the bar. So actually we're kind of like going from nowhere and bringing it up to that high note. Now the fluttering is done by flicking the end of the tremolo bar, which is pretty much, Floyd Rose is pretty much the only bridge setup that'll sound like this, unless you have some type of other floating bridge that is set up in a way to actually wiggle or trill like this. The other way that I do it, that I use live, is actually banging the guitar, which will shake the bar when you bang it. So sometimes I just play around and I do a combination of both, you know, da 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 da, da like that. But if you do have a Floyd Rose set up, and it is floating meaning that the bridge is up in the air like this and not resting against the body. It's kind of a downfall when you break a string, because it'll take it out of tune, because it'll release a little more tension on the bridge and cause it to go out of tune. But by having the bridge floating the right way with the spring tension right and the neck set up in a way so it is floating and in tune and set up right, you can get this effect out of your guitar. Now let me finish lick number 2, second half of Don't Tell Me You Love Me solo. And for lick number 3, I'd like to show you the intro lick on Don't Tell Me You Love Me, which on your guitar you would probably want to have a cleaner setting, which I use it on my middle pickup and a little bit of chorus added onto it, and pull my volume control back just a tad, about down to 9. And it sounds like this. And slowly that would be done with 2 fingers on the G and B string up on the 4th fret. And for lick number 4, I'd like to show you my part in the ride out of Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Now Jeff Watson, the other guitar player, would be playing the harmony over this, but my part is an octave part, and it goes something like this. Like I said, it starts out with octaves being played, and halfway through it I go back into the straight single notes, which Jeff adds the harmony to. And the very last notes I hit are 2 notes together, bent down with the tremolo. And here it is slowly. And now for lick number 5 is also off the first album, along with Don't Tell Me You Love Me. This song is called Eddie's Coming Out Tonight. And I'd like to show you the first half of the solo. On this solo, I'm incorporating a lot of bar bends, especially on the first note, bringing it up from an A to a C, just by hitting the note by itself and bending the bar up, bringing it up to the C. And then after that, I'm incorporating downward pushes on the tremolo bar and bringing them up to the regular notes. And later on through the solo, I'm using another bar technique by bending the bar down and bringing it up to its normal position and going up frets on the one string there, which gives it the effect which I'll show you now. And lick number 6 would come right after my guitar solo, which is lick number 5. And in this section, this is where I play the first half of the run, and then Jeff would play the second half, and then we trade off one more time, and then we both get together for a harmony run up the scale to the very high A note. My part would essentially go like this in fast speed, normal speed. And at slow speed, that one part would go like this. And the next section on that would be where Jeff and I both play together in harmony. And my part would go like this. I will play it to you in slow speed so you can actually see what's coming at you here. And for lick number 7 is a song called Night Ranger off the first album, Dawn Patrol. And that is also where Jeff and I trade off on lead solos. And I like to show you the parts that I do on that section. This would be lick number 7. And playing this for you slow now, what I'm doing is I'm hitting one note down here on the B string, and then when I go up top, I'm actually hitting 2 notes on the G and B string, and it goes like this in slow motion. And on the very end of that lick right there is when I use the tremolo bar by wiggling it, gives it kind of a crazy wild effect, which is fluent in my style. And for lick number 8, I like to play the second half of my solo in that song, which goes like this. And then again, for lick number 8 that I'm showing you, I'm using a lot of tremolo bar on that by starting with the notes pushed down on the tremolo and bringing them up to key. Slowly it would go like this. And for lick number 9 is also off the first album. The song is called Penny, I Got Your Number. And that's where I do the solo in this song. And it starts out with a harmonic, very, very long, high bar bend. First of all, I'll show you the bend, and then we'll go into the lick itself. Now, what I'm doing there is hitting on top of the 5th fret on the G string, starting out with the bar real low, hitting the note while the bar is low, and pulling it all the way up to the B note. And now the rest of lick number 9, I will play the whole solo, and then we'll try it slowly. So for lick number 9, that would be the first half of the solo in penny. Let me play that to you slowly. And for lick number 10, which would be the second half of the penny solo, I'm using the bar again, and what I'm doing is the same double notes that I was hitting earlier. I'm hitting the same notes, but trilling back and forth on 2 notes and bending the bar up and down, not up, but up to the note until I'm ending where I'm going to show you now. I'll show you at fast speed. Now, lick number 10 slowly. Like I said, I'm incorporating the 2 notes I was hitting earlier into trills, and I'm going up and down the fretboard and using the bar slowly. It would go like this. For lick number 10, what I'm doing at the very end of that is hitting 2 notes where the chord change at the end of the solo goes back to an E chord. I'm hitting 2 notes right above the 7th fret right here, the harmonics, and raising them up to get a root and a 5th, which gives me that E chord in the bottom without a 3rd added to it. And the very last note, the very high harmonic, starts way at the bottom by holding your tremolo down and hitting right above the 3rd fret on the G string and bringing it up to the high E, which is your root for your ending chord, ending note of that solo, that phrase, which sounds like this. And the second note, to the very last note of the solo, would be that G harmonic bend, which would sound like this. And now for lick number 11, I'd like to play you the intro harmonic double note intro, which goes like this. And basically that just feeds right into the intro guitar lick that Jeff does, which I'll show you right now for lick number 12. For lick number 12, that intro guitar lick in Rockin' America, what I'm doing is I'm hitting the root note A and an octave, like that, with a 5th on top, or in the middle, I should say. And by bringing it down 1 step, whole step, That's where you start out crunching the A note and playing along with half step down, which would be a G over an A bass. And basically the only change that's done in the chord segment right there is with the little finger bringing it down, which is your high octave of your A, bringing it down a half step, high octave to the G because you're down a whole step, is bringing it down a half step to an F sharp. So basically it would sound like this slowly. And to explain what I just played, those three notes are starting on the A string, hitting above the 4th fret, and your next note would be on the D string, hitting above the 5th fret, and lastly hitting above the G string on the 5th fret. So slowly it would sound like this. And for lick number 13, I'd like to show you my guitar solo on Rockin' America, and I will split it into 2 sections. So what I'm doing on that actually is there's a few notes there that I'm not actually picking. By bending the bar down and up actually takes the place of actually picking the note. So you actually run one note into another, and you get that slide feel, that yeah, 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 yeah feel in that section. And for the second half of lick number 13, or we'll call it lick number 14, which is the second half of my solo in Rockin' America, goes like this, and then I will explain it. Actually, what I'm doing on that first harmonic there is I'm hitting right above the 9th fret on the G string, which gives me a high B harmonic note. And that's the first note of, that's the key we're in on the solo. And what I'm doing is hitting the note, bringing it down and up in the pattern that's making that sound. And slowly that one part would go like this. And slowly the whole lick would go like this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using the fluttering technique up here with the bar in that section, hitting 2 notes down here above the 7th fret to get the double note harmonic pull up in that section, and chromatically on the end raising up those 2 notes on the B and E string, going back and forth with that section, and ending on a high F sharp and bending it up to a G, going into Jeff's solo, like this. And now for lick number 15, this will be Rumors in the Air, the very intro, which I incorporate a slap echo into the notes, which gets a doubling effect when used correctly, or this way that I use it gets the effect that I will show you now. Okay, for lick number 15, the Rumors in the Air intro right here, actually what I'm doing is I'm incorporating a volume control on every note I hit and single notes on the other hand, the playing hand. Now, actually, without the echo, slowly it would sound like this. Now, by popping in the echo in that section right there, it gives it the effect that you hear on the album. So I'll play it without the effect, and then I'll pop on the echo, and you can hear the difference, how it brings everything together right there. Now for lick number 16 is off our first single off the Seven Wishes, our latest album. And that song is Sentimental Street, and that's where I play the solo. And it kind of goes like this at regular speed. Now, that being lick number 16, you could tell we're moving on to a little more advanced, longer solos. I'll break it down for you. Actually, I just start out doing single note, little vibrato bends. And one unusual thing I incorporate in that solo is actually hitting a note and wiggling the note down here with this finger, but bending the bar down, which gives it that one effect that sounds like this. And the next area inside that solo that we could look into is where I'm hitting a note and bringing it up and hitting another note on top and bringing it back down with the bar. So actually what I'm saying, I'll play exactly what I mean. Now after that section I do a few double note guitar runs down until I hit the bottom G note, and slowly it would go like this. And now for lick number 16, I'll finish the Sentimental Street solo from where I left off. And again, on lick number 16 at the end, I incorporate that harmonic pull-up, which I've seem to be doing a lot on a lot of solos. And that again is on the G string off the 3rd fret, starting at the very bottom and pulling up to the high G. Now on that last note I hit, it's really hard to pull that note off unless you have a lot of gain on your amplifier. I'm using the B channel, which is the lead channel on the Boogie amplifier, to get enough gain to pull that high note off. And you can get the same effect by using a distortion box, or maybe cranking your amp up to 11 if it can go that high. But if you can't seem to pull off harmonics, or if they just won't come out, make sure you have fresh strings on your guitar, and make sure you're hitting it right on top of the fret. That makes a lot of difference, placement of your actual finger to hit the note. Okay, for lick number 17, there's a song off Midnight Madness album. It's called A Touch of Madness. And first of all, I'd like to play a couple things off that. But first of all, I'd like to play a little rhythm break that Jeff and I both do together, the same part. And it goes something like this. Okay, that little rhythm break there incorporates two notes and hitting your low E in between each time. And pretty basic. Towards the end, you can see me pull up the bar to get that da-da-da-da-da-da type sound there. I'll play it for you slow so you could tell what I'm talking about here. Okay, for the second part of lick number 17 is the solo that Jeff and I both do in harmony, octave harmony. He plays the high octave, I play the low octave. It kind of goes like this at speed, normal speed. Okay, what we're doing is, like I said, Jeff and I do a harmony. I do the lower one down here, he does an octave higher up top, and then we add that rhythm fill, which you heard at the end of that, on the very end of it. Now slowly that lick would sound like this. Now at the very end of that solo before the rhythm section is like a chromatic run up the scale, leaving on the B string, leaving the open B note open in between each note. So basically it would be like this. Okay, for lick number 18, the very end ride out of Touch of Madness, I do a couple little fills there, but the interesting part to me that I like to share with you is a section I do that sounds pretty much like a haunting, swirling, crazy sound. I don't know how to explain it, but the sound would sound like this. So actually what I'm doing there is a succession of 3 harmonics and using the tremolo bar in a way to bend down and up and wiggle at the same time and still hit the harmonics with your left hand. The first harmonic you would hit there would be above the 7th fret, and you would take the bar low and bring it up and around until you go back down, and then hit above the 5th fret, go down, shake it up, around, back down, then hit above the 3rd fret and do the same. So slowly it would sound like this. Not really the most commercial sound you'll ever hear, but it's I thought it fit a song called Touch of Madness for lick number 18. Okay, for lick number 19 is something that isn't on any of the albums that I was fooling around with one day, and I thought I might share it with you. It's the sound of a Ferrari. And the sound of a Ferrari, and then downshifting after third gear, let's say, huh? Well, I used to get it to idle pretty good, but I changed the strings that time, and now it doesn't seem to want to idle the way it used to. But the way you do that is incorporating. I don't use any echo on that because echo seems to put too much into the sound and go away from takes the main tonal effect away from the sound. What I do is I hit the two strings above the 9th fret, the E and the A strings, and you just tap them like so and hit them with your volume control off like so, and you have it ringing right now. You pull your bar all the way to the bottom and slowly bring up your volume control and control the revs with your hand, like so. Lick number 20, I like to do one of my favorite solos, and I feel like one of the maybe tastiest solos that I put a lot into is Sister Christian. And I'll play the whole solo for you, and then I'll break it down. Okay, that was lick number 20, Sister Christian solo. Now in breaking that down, the very first note I hit is pretty much of a bite, which means what I'm doing is I'm holding the very edge of the pick and getting that bite sound for the very first note, which sounds like this for the first note. And the next little trick I do in there is a bend up on one note and hitting another note while the bar is bent up and bringing it back down. So I'll play up to that point slowly. Okay, what I'm doing about the 5th note into the solo is I'm hitting a C note on the A string. I'm tapping that string, the A string, an octave higher on the C right here. And by tapping it brings out the octave, and then I pull it up on the bar, which raises it a whole step to a D. Now I place my pinky on the D string on the G note. Now since the bar is already up a whole step, that means when you're actually hitting a G right here, is you're actually getting an A note out of it and bringing it back down to a G. So roughly what it sounds like this. And at this point, I'll play the whole solo for you slowly and show you everything that's going on here. Well, this is the close of our Star Licks tape number 1 from me, Brad Gillis, and I'm happy to be up here sharing my licks and riffs with you, and I hope it could hopefully do something for your career. And with a lot of dedication and time involved and practice and a lot of soul and finesse in your own style, creating your own style, hopefully you could be up here yourself making a tape for me someday. And this is Brad Gillis saying, keep rockin'.